I know you're eager to start, and honestly, you're going to learn a lot about trading here. However, just the one thing if you can promise me that you will focus on doing is not just learning how to trade, but also learning how to think. When I develop my own thinking process and how it is that I look at the world and look at the market, that's where I really started to make trading my own thing. Hopefully you guys can do that as well. Hey guys, I'm Sage, and more than likely this will be the first video you guys come across here on the channel. So this is going to be the perfect opportunity for me to really dive deep into the messaging, the tone, and the expectations that you guys should have for us going forward. Let me take advantage of that here and now, opening up with this. Trading is very hard. I'm sure I don't need to convince any of you of that. You've been trading for more than 30 seconds. You already get it. I've been trading since 2010. Until this day, I find trading difficult. The only thing that has changed in the last 14, 15 years is the fact that I leveled up my skill set. That's how you want to approach trading in general. I will tell you here and now that the barrier to entry for trading is extremely low. So people come into this with absolutely no discipline whatsoever, no forethought, and they end up blowing up accounts. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. So I want you to really start approaching trading exactly like a doctor, a lawyer, or any disciplinarian would for any other profession or any other craft. I've honed this down into 3 trading pillars. I find myself in my own trading journey that if I deviate from any of the 3 pillars, that's usually where I end up in trouble. Pillar number 1 is going to be the technical part of this. Pillar number 2 is going to be the psychological part of this. And then pillar number 3 ties everything together. It's basically going to be risk management. So I already alluded to pillar number 1, treat this like a profession. If you stand any chance whatsoever competing against people like myself that are a little bit on the higher end of the retail trader now that we've been doing this for longer, or any of the institutional traders out there, you got to make sure that you have your homework down pat, and you got to make sure that you have some sort of system that you adhere to pretty much down pat. Number 2 is going to be the psychological aspect to this. This is where most of you are finding difficulty. A lot of you are going to latch onto the technical stuff, and you're going to get it pretty quickly. I can almost guarantee that. The second part is the part where even myself, after 10, 15 years of this, I'm still working on. It's going to be, you have to, absolutely without exception, master invalidation. And let me explain this. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this one. You have to be able to tell yourself that you are incorrect, or if you, let's say you're invalidated on a stop loss or just an overall thesis, you got to be able to let it go. This is difficult, even for myself. I have a little bit more of a mature emotional detachment to things. It's just because that I've been doing this for a longer period of time. A lot of us cannot handle being wrong, and trading is going to flip you on your head. No question about it. If you are wrong on something, you have to be able to admit that you're wrong, and you have to do it pretty quickly. It's easy to do it if you're a scalper, 5-minute time frame. I mean, you set a stop loss, it hits, and you don't get back in. Now, as a little bit of a longer time trader, you have to be able to admit when you're wrong and be able to adjust and get back on your feet. This is the thing that we're probably going to spend the most time on with all the videos that we're going to make, right? Because all of us, including myself, struggle with this exact pillar. Now, this segues really well into pillar number 3, which is going to be risk reward. Tell me if you've ever heard this one before. Risk reward, probably most of you know on an intellectual level, but you're not applying it. If I were to ask you, what is your risk reward for your trading system? Most of you don't even know how to answer that. We have a baseline risk reward that I like to work off, and that's what we're going to be teaching you with all of our videos, and especially in our trading system. That risk reward ties everything together. If you have good risk reward, that's going to be the first thing. And secondary, I know that this is kind of strange to listen to, but secondary is going to be the bias. Whether you think it's going to be a long trade or a short trade, it really doesn't matter if that risk reward is not there. It doesn't matter if you're right. What matters is if you are wrong, can you afford to be wrong? That risk reward parameter is literally the thing that will define whether you become a profitable trader or not a profitable trader. We will spend a huge amount of time on pillar number 3, and you'll see that it is ingrained in everything that we do. So let's recap here real quick. Pillar number 1 is going to be the technical part of this. You want to hone in on the skills. Number 2 is going to be master invalidation. You want to make sure that even when you're wrong, you're able to accept the fact, you can let it go, you can readjust, and you can move on to the next thing. That's the psychological pillar. And then number 3 is going to be risk reward. That brings everything together. That is the execution pillar. That brings all 3 into a nice, neat little system. That's what you want as a trader, okay?
Okay.
We can only imagine how eager you guys are to begin. So remember, anything that you will learn with trading is going to fall into one of those three pillars. If you have that approach and have that sort of discipline, then you can attack the market. We'll see you guys here in the next couple of videos.